Hi everyone, good evening. I hope everybody is doing fine. So, Ravi bhai, although today's spaces were not planned, but everybody I was seeing sharing that CLSA report and whatnot, right? So,
Yes, sir.
I mean, I thought why not explore what could be its potential uh, consequences, or maybe there could be a better word for that. But again, just so as to gauge whether this will change the sentiment of the market, which is on all the index levels and on behavior level and all other parameters. And this quarter also the earnings were quite weak, right? So
Yes.
primarily, like everything was going in the other direction. So just to explore maybe basis of the past experiences, right? Uh, is it something which is very material in the sense that this will change things big time, or maybe we can cite that in times of doldrums, we often look for doobte ko tinke ka sahara kind of thing. So extrapolating on those fronts. I mean, just to kickstart this session, and obviously others can also join us with their perspectives. Yeah, Ravi bhai.
So, Prince Bhai, first of all, I haven't gone through the report fully, but yeah, the report is on the positive side towards, it has tried to appraise the condition of Indian economy and the expected future. If in market terms we talk, we often say that bet on India, the India growth story. So the report is positive on that. But that said, if we try to extrapolate that a positive report by a particular agency with the overall market sentiment, yeah, you can say कि डूबते को तिनके का सहारा. But then at the same time, the report has a very deep meaning also. If you would have noticed, like in past couple of days, there is a very strong undercurrent of discussion which points that the India growth story or the India growth promise is fading away. The long-term story, is being said that like it is faltering. So, from that perspective, if we see, then we can say that the report is pretty material in that regards. Yeah, that's from my side, Prince Bhai.
Right. And Ravi bhai, we have observed even within our sessions the periods wherein the markets are in doldrums or volatility times, right? So often we extrapolate on it goes on both the sides, right? When the market is on the upward trend, so we extrapolate levels I mean, in our fair assumption, appear to be on the higher side. And when it start correcting, you see all the levels, regardless of naming the levels, right? So this is normal behavior we have all gone through. But again, not many of us who started after COVID had seen those brutal, painful times wherein every time we build hope that here we will form the base, and the market was not going anywhere or maybe further corrected from those levels. So this is again, as you rightly said, that some ray of hope wherein there was a lot of negativity, and when amidst this negativity, when something comes in, definitely that should be taken uh, positively, and we sincerely believe that market will also react positively, but that would be transitory in the sense that nothing changes overnight materially, right? Wherein the earnings are weak, definitely companies will take time until we see some reversal on the earnings. And wherein the earnings strength is there, definitely those places are the pockets where we should be focusing ourselves on. So Ravi, by I mean, we'll come to the AI Alpha 10x. Before that, I would like to ask for your views around like where you see chemical sectors 1 or 2 quarters from there, because we have seen immense pressure in the sector as a whole, right? Barring few pockets, they have corrected to those levels, which I believe if not the exact base, but near to the bottom of the cycle, wherein obviously that cannot be same for each and every company because they all have different kind of businesses. But again, broadly as a sector, where you see.
So, Prince Bhai, you very well know that I have been very bullish on the chemical sector, and by God's grace, I have few good names from the sector, and they have given me good returns also. But the problem is that if you take a very time bound view, for a year, for 6 months, for like 3 months, trading bets, if you try to do such kind of things on this particular sector, which is very very varied, because when we say chemical sector, we have like bulk chemicals are there, agrochemicals are there, APIs are there, then entire pharma brigade is there. So like it's a very heterogeneous sector altogether if you look at. But one thing which we need to keep in mind is that if we see very closely, the rise of any proper economic power in the past, be it Germany in Europe or be it China in Asia, like in the first decade of this millennia, chemical sector's rise has played a very significant role anywhere. You must be knowing, Prince Bhai, that many of the major chemical companies in the world, they have largely German origins. So it played a very significant role in rise of Germany's economic might, and the same thing was there with China also. So from the India story perspective, if you look at, chemicals have a very long runway ahead and a very key role to play. So if from that perspective you see, the sector is at a cusp of inflection point where good quality companies are venturing into sectors, are venturing into products, are venturing into processes which are way more way more focused on value addition, way more focused on meeting demands outside the country. The thing is that one needs to take a very prolonged view on this sector, and at the same time, since the overall perspective of this sector is related to the external aspect of the economy, that is exports and all, there will be volatility, there will be issues related to geopolitics and all, and hence there will be an innate volatility in this sector. So if one takes a very proper view, a long-term view, this sector is definitely one of the places to be in, and especially with the recent correction in the market, the valuations are looking very attractive. One needs to do proper research, proper study that where capex is going live, where operating leverage is going to kick in. Even if a company has missed its revenue estimates, what is the core reason in that part? So rather than just trying to write off one particular sector, a huge sector as cyclical or non-cyclical, one needs to go into the details, because often either both the beauty as well as the devil always lies in the details. So that's my take, Prince Bhai.
Perfect, Ravi, and I believe this is the right approach. If the horizon is a longer period, then definitely we are well positioned as far as the chemical sector is concerned. So, coming to Alpha 10x, so would appreciate if you share your thoughts or any views around.
Hello, sir. Sir, I think uh, we were talking about muted earnings. So, sir, I have observed that muted earnings have been largely observed in large caps and mid caps, but in small cap and micro cap, there are many and opportunities are there. Also, there are some sectors which are undervalued and where which has shown potential in the results of this quarter. So it may be possible that FIIs start buying in selectively in some sectors, undervalued stocks and undervalued sectors. Then the market may remain in consolidation for some time. Uh, but I don't think that in large caps and especially those stocks, because many of the stocks which have shown muted earnings, they are part of the Nifty, and I don't find any trigger there that FIIs are likely to return to buy those stocks. So I think those undervalued sectors for example, sir was talking about chemical sector, and some other sectors are there where the stocks have shown great results, and they are still undervalued. So the buying may come in those sectors, but overall buying may be difficult. That FIIs are not likely to start buying in, especially in large caps. This is what I feel. But one thing that can be in favor of India is that US, the election of Trump as US president. So there might be some sectors where these FIIs might be forced to buy because they have to exit from China or some other, or India may have better opportunities there. But overall market, especially in large caps, is very difficult for FIIs to come back so soon. This is what I feel on the basis of all the information that is available right now.
Thank you, Alpha 10X, and thank you for your views. And definitely, there are earnings which are very good, be it the small caps or the micro caps. But again, everything takes their own time, and when investors believe in investing, that is the time we saw appreciation in those companies. And there are times wherein good companies can remain ignored for a longer period of time. So we have to be what we say. We should be like ready for such phases if we have conviction that any company which we believe is doing the right things, execution is taking place, but that is not visible in price. So definitely we should not be like blindly waiting, but again, we should always be allowing sufficient time so as to play that out. You never know that for the 1 or 2 years you won't get any return, and in a Ziffy you will get 4-5x in company. So that is very normal in these markets. So possibly Monday we will see positive sentiment across the market, as it has been discussed by every retailer and every biggie, right? So definitely there is substance to it. But how long that will sustain is a question we should be asking ourselves. And on the top of that, how material it is from our portfolio perspective is the question we should be asking ourselves, because the kind of companies we have invested in, it won't be like when obviously there would be some positivity across the board, but again, the money will be flowing wherein there would be earnings or visibility of earnings for next few quarters. So those things should also be kept in mind. And as we always say, whenever we get positive trend or positive run in the market, those are the times wherein we try to cut our mistakes or the choices which we have made in portfolio, and we have gone wrong on that. So definitely that is one aspect we should all be learning. So coming to another pocket, Ravi, like FMCG, what do you believe is happening to the sector as a whole? And even the biggies have not shown the kind of earnings expected. Any thoughts if you cover it closely, or
So,
maybe?
Prince Bhai, I will give 2 pointers here. First of all, we need to understand that the policy of the current government is somewhere focused on, taxing consumption and subsidizing investment. Okay, you see so many PLI schemes are there. You see so many, initiatives focused on entrepreneurship are being focused upon. So, that is the overall theme of things. And hence we see that, there is a definite, stagnation slash declining trend in overall, consumption, per capita consumption, as well as the earnings of FMCG companies. But that being one part of the story, now if you couple it with the current correction in the market, which has also, moderated, the valuation of these FMCG companies. Now we need to think one thing that, we always say that, India will overtake China, India will become a superpower or whatever, we want to talk. But there is one data pointer which we need to keep in mind, that India's per capita consumption is 1/3 of Philippines. leave China, leave USA, whatever we want to compare, we can say with a decent amount of surety that India will at least overtake Philippines in terms of like per capita consumption per se, at least. So even if that happens, we see that the total addressable market or the opportunity available in front of these FMCG companies is huge. Yes, we need to drill down onto this sector very properly, that which companies are specifically poised to gain more. That is one thing which an investor needs, that one exercise which an investor will have to take take care of on their own side. But like the overall picture is pretty clear that like yes, there can be temporary hiccups, there can be temporary period of stagnation, but largely with decent amount of surety we can say that the overall FMCG basket is very well poised.
Right. So I think he got some call or message. So meanwhile, we'll come to him again. So Ravindra, Vajpayee will come to you. Before that, some thoughts on the report from Ravindra Bhandari. So Ravindra, have you got the opportunity or time to run through the CLSA report, which is out today? So if so, in that case, it would be helpful if you share some pointers and your analysis of the report basis. Reading that, what could be the possible positives, or there is more of extrapolating things rather than something actually happening in the market.
Yeah, I didn't do a detailed study, but I just had a time to just go through the report. Uh, it's positive for India, for our market. Basically, what happened somewhere around September end, what CLSA did was they reduced the weight from India and increased the weight for China. And now what they are saying is, due to Trump coming back to power, there is chances of uncertainty towards, say, Chinese exports. Two things has happened in that September end period and today is, one was there was expectation of stimulus from China, which will be used to increase their economic growth. But I don't remember the stimulus number. I guess was about $1.4 trillion, and out of which about 60% is mostly like, which is refinancing the provincial debt. So earlier, what used to happen is the Chinese growth used to come from their provinces. They were taking huge amount of debt, and now that debt has been cleaning up. So not incremental growth kind of stimulus, but it's more of cleaning up the system. The second thing which has happened is, because Trump coming back, what he's saying is, or what market is saying that he might do is something about 10% kind of import duty for the goods which is coming to the US market, and some high taxes on the Chinese exports to the US market, something about 50-60%. The implication can be very varied, but some expectation is that it will increase the cost of goods in the US market. Henceforth, the inflation problem will persist. That's the reason why we are saying that since the Trump coming back, the US 10-year has increased. It was 4.2, 4.3, and now it's 4.45 something. As a result, dollar is also strengthening against all the markets, which is again negative in terms of stock market for emerging market. होता क्या है ना कि से जितना पैसा इमर्जिंग मार्केट में आता है, ओनली 15-20% इज फंड. इंडिया में जो आता है ओनली 15-20% ऑफ द फंड इज इंडिया डेडिकेटेड. वो ईयर मार्क करके आता है ये पैसा इंडिया में लगाना है, एंड देन दे स्टार्ट searching for different stocks within different sector. Only 15-20%. The 85-90% of the inflow which India gets is basically either Asia dedicated fund or Asia ex Japan, or it is largely emerging market basket. अब उस बास्केट में क्या है कि अगर अगर करेंसी यूएस डॉलर इज एप्रिशिएटिंग, then generally it becomes negative for India. So that trades were playing out as we have witnessed in October, November. There is huge amount of redemption. What changes from Trump coming back is, जो अपने पहले बोलते थे ना China +1, that again might come back. If duties is imposed on China, So a lot of manufacturing and those chemical companies, those might be beneficial. Sorry, I'm mixing two things because वो Trump वाला और ये जो note है, there are a lot of things which are in common. Apart from that is something like what the implication can be is Trump is known for level playing field on all kind of energy. तो उससे होता क्या है कि whatever excess subsidy which was provided to the green initiative, तो वहां पे वो restriction आ जाएगा यूएस मार्केट में, and that will bring अपना fossil fuel energy again in focus. Maybe Chinese dumping. China has a large capacity on the solar and green kind of energy जो भी production होता है. So whatever exports they were doing, that will have some kind of problem. उससे एक implication ये भी है कि Reliance is also Reliance का जो सोलर का प्लांट चालू होने वाला है गीगा फैक्ट्री फ्रॉम नेक्स्ट ईयर, तो उनका भी एक लार्ज पॉट ऑफ रेवेन्यू इज एक्सपेक्टेड टू बी जनरेटेड. सो उधर भी कुछ implication आ सकता है if the import duty is extended for all the countries. So all these things are there, but report per se, what they have done is जो overweight था इंडिया का 20%, overweight या weight इंडिया का 20% था, वो सितंबर में 10% किया उन्होंने, and now it is back to 20%. So this will help in what whoever is following the CLSA model template about investing in the emerging market. So whatever flows we were hearing is moving out of India towards China in last one and a half year, that might see some kind of reversal. और CLSA का एक्चुअली एक दो दिन में एक और रिपोर्ट आया था which is also very crucial. It's about Reliance new energy which is not being fairly valued by the market. There is huge amount of value in solar and all. That also अभी हुआ क्या है कि since the energy pack or the entire market is coming down, so Reliance has corrected substantially because of disappointment of announcement that there would be some announcement on IPO of few of their subsidiary, retail हुआ चाहे Jio हुआ, that was not announced in AGM, so some amount of disappointment from there. But what has happened in Reliance, there is huge undervalued right now, which is highlighted in that CLSA report. So देखते हैं अभी तो there is so much heavy selling in the Indian market के U shape V shape recovery तो मुश्किल है. So market need to stop falling first and recovery also as normal time आ गया है कि recovery पहले क्या था, recovery small cap में पहले आती थी. I expect now the good old days kind of thing will prevail in the market, that recovery has to come in the large cap now. So that should be the trend, that first the recovery has to come from large cap, and for large cap recovery, before recovery, they need to stop falling from now onwards, or whenever this steep correction which is happening now stops, and then we can see a road ahead for future return.
Right, Ravi. So we'll go to Ravikant, and then for follow-up we'll come again to others. Yeah, Ravikant.
Yeah, Prince bhai. So like I completely agree with Shunya sir, like जो उन्होंने elaborate किया. But what we need to, like, my focus point is like a bit different here, because on one side, yes, definitely Trump's ascension to power has changed the game for China. But it will be interesting to see how Trump goes ahead with imposing tariffs on China, because that will also cause a lot of inflation in US as well, and that can affect the rate cutting decisions which the Fed takes in there. So it will be a very we can say like a soup bowl or a noodle bowl kind of situation, like that your flavor will depend on the specific strand which you are tasting. So it will be a very complicated and a choppy time going ahead, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's correct. If you hear one of the interview from Mr. Neelkant Mishra 3 days back, what he was saying is a blanket tax imposition on Chinese goods and say 10%, 60% on China and 10% on rest of the world. What implication it will have? See, as of today, what's happened in the last 3-4 years is because of the taxes which Trump imposed in his first regime. Now China is not the largest trading partner for US. China has made a lot of export to the Mexico and the nearby market and set up some shop that वहाँ पे कुछ assembly होती है, and Mexico has become the largest trading partner of US right now. So he will, I think he will plug that loophole also. And in that interview also, what Mr. Mishra mentioned that because of tariff imposition, there is expectation of consumption inflation to be spiking back by 180 basis point. इससे होता क्या है? Because of that implication, what we are seeing is interest rate in US is going up, 20 basis point increase in last, I guess, 10 days or something like that. Again, when interest rate goes up, currency appreciate. When currency appreciate, emerging market investor get jittery. FIIs को ना currency risk चाहिए ही नहीं होता. So if the interest rate is higher, इसको ना थोड़ा academically अगर Prince, if you give me 1 minute, I would like to explain. Okay, think about this. US 10-year bond yield has gone to somewhere around 4.5%. If you India को US FII, large FII, India is a BBB rated country. ठीक है? तो BBB rating or BBB rated debt instrument in US trades about 5.5 or something about that kind of interest rate every for a yearly basis. 5.5 पे normally if anyone is exporter from India, he would know 3.5-4% अपना currency depreciation expectation में रहता है कि हर साल 3.5-4% हो, which is good for us also कि अपने जो भी export करते हैं IDYT, they got help because of whatever inflation that get salary hike that get absorbed by this currency depreciation. अपने को हिट आता है आयरन पे, ऑयल पे, वो अलग कहानी है, बट 3.5-4% वी आर फाइन विद इट. अपना करेंसी का अगर फॉरवर्ड यील्ड कर्व भी देखते हैं, दैट इनकॉर्पोरेट्स दिस 3.5% काइंड ऑफ डेप्रिसिएशन. सो यूएस सेज अपना BBB इंस्ट्रूमेंट उनका 5.5 पे चलता है, प्लस 3.5-4% अगर करेंसी डेप्रिसिएशन है. सो इफेक्टिवली व्हाट ही व्हेन ही इज इन्वेस्टिंग इन इंडिया, ही इज गेटिंग 9-9.5%. अपना ब्रॉडर लार्ज कैप इंडेक्स का रिटर्न अभी तो ज्यादा है, बट अदरवाइज इट्स 12%, 12.5%, 13%. So you are taking that for 3%, you are taking all the kind of 3% is the alpha generated. When there is currency, there is expectation currency might move wildly. तो फिर ये calculation थोड़ा हिलने लगता है. Once it stabilize, I believe once currency stabilize and rate stops going up in the US market, this emerging market fund will come back.
So one side to it is like, as we were discussing about the CLSA report. So it's not about we are like investors were selling India so as to buy China. It was primarily moving to USA, right? And if we refer to a tweet by Samir Arora, as he mentioned that largely Indian stocks have corrected 10-15%, and average US stocks are up 10% since September. So that is more on that side rather than the China element. So any thoughts around it, or I mean, he is of the opinion that we should not be very euphoric about the report, just for the sake of conversation.
Anyways, we shouldn't be very euphoric. Kind of selling is happening. एक बार में ना, it can't change overnight. Yeah, whatever selling has happened in last 1 month. To quantify the pressure in the Indian market, October month we have seen the fall was about 6.2%. This was sixth largest fall in percentage term in last 10 years. एक point of time में in 10 days of the month of October, market has 6.97%, which was about second or third largest fall in last 10 years. मतलब कोविड को हटा दे तो that was the one of the steepest correction. अपने ये डिस्कशन छोड़ देते हैं कि वैल्यूएशन किस पॉइंट पे था, बट करेक्शन जस्ट ऑन न्यूमेरिकल टर्म्स इट वाज one of the largest what we have seen. So because the weight has changed, or the model weight for one of the broker has changed, ये ना immediately ऐसा U-turn मारता तो नहीं है. At least what can happen is the intensity of the selling might come down. Actually, intensity से भी ज़्यादा ना, what has impacted in the Indian market is October and this month, we have seen the one of the highest amount of IPOs and fundraising which is absorbed. जितना selling इनका हो रहा है, अपना म्यूचुअल फंड से उतना पैसा जा रहा है, बट इंक्रीमेंटली ये जो पेपर आए हैं ना, be it IPO, be it OFS or QIP, that is absorbing huge amount of inflows which retail investor or domestic investors are trying to put in. So ये भी रुक जाए, then also there will be huge amount of cushion. Say October month itself, we were about 41,000 crore inflow, equity inflow in mutual fund. That is very huge number to absorb. But then equivalent amount of fund IPO paper and QIP which has happened and which is again happening. अभी NTPC I think it would be 9-10,000 crore. So ये सब भी liquidity absorb कर रहा है. इसमें आता है, इसमें अपने FII का भी पैसा आता है. But large part of money which gets invested in this IPO QIP is again our DII money. So that is also one problem. Yeah.
And Ravi and Ravikant, both the questions. So, do you believe, the money which is being going into, say, bitcoins or those kind of asset classes is also possibly one reason after Trump winning, or that magnitude is not that level that we can substantially say that is amongst one of the reasons? Yeah.
Yeah, Bitcoin का
That
तो कोई
is,
idea नहीं है. But I guess
yes,
Ravikant has
yes.
something to share.
No, sir, I was saying the same thing. It's a very tough analysis to make because the rise in Bitcoin has also its roots in, again, Trump's victory and Mr. Elon Musk being one of the early adopters of Bitcoin, Dogecoin, whatever, whatnot. So it's a mixed part. We cannot single out that because of this particular reason only this what is happening. And as far as as you mentioned about Samir Arora's remarks, so in that remark we need to add one more thing. See, the capital gain taxes in India, which were increased both in LTCG and STCG terms, that also needs to be taken into account. And many a times, and especially like topics related to economics, we never ever see an immediate reaction. There is always a reaction after a lag. It is often called lag effect or J curve effect. So that is also one aspect because FIIs will always be interested or concerned with post-tax returns which they are generating in a country or a market in where they are investing. So that was definitely skewed, and in a way, with the kind of rally run up we have had for past 2-3 years, and the kind of valuations which we were quoting, which were not subsequently supported by the results. So again, it is very tough to point out one single factor. But yeah, as Shunya sir said that first we need to be very focused on observing that where the market stabilizes. This is not the time to focus on whether the market will go into bull mode or bear mode. It is more about let the market stabilize a bit. Let the corporate announcements, the corporate earnings get back onto the tracks. And yeah, and personally said, I do expect in coming 3 to 6 week some interest rate action by RBI also, because yeah, I mean it is one of the harshest falls in in nearly a decade or more than decade also, and that too not that too one where the exact reason cannot be pinpointed, because see, in COVID when we fell, we knew that the fall has been triggered by COVID, or there have in the past there have been scams when the market cracked, but this time around it's nothing. There is nothing. So it is very different from the previous corrections which we have seen, and hence we need to be, I would say, cautiously optimistic.
Right, Ravikant. So another perspective we would be needing is on the dollar strengthening, right? And there is again one question also you talked about the interest rate that is again we discussed with Ravindra Bhandari. So Ravindra, there is a question: what is the possibility of Japanese regulator intervention now with the dollar appreciation? Can it have yen carry trade concerns once again? And also on the interest rate front, if you have some thoughts, would appreciate that.
यार इतना समझ में नहीं आता है बट वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू आंसर. एक चीज है, व्हाट आई रेड वाज उनका वन ऑफ द पार्टी हैज लॉस्ट द मैंडेट, so might have some implication but very difficult to say. I can elaborate some of the point which Ravikant mentioned which is very interesting. ये येन वाला हो सकता है यार, इसका कोई आइडिया नहीं है यार. इतना इतना जापानीज फाइनेंशियल मार्केट के बारे में पढ़ते भी नहीं है. वो आ जाता है देन इम्प्लीकेशन वी गेट टू नो.
Yeah, you can continue with the points which Ravi.
हाँ, तो एक दो चीज जो बोल रहे थे ना, वी वर डिस्कसिंग के जो अपना एसटीसीजी एलटीसीजी बढ़ाया है, मैं एक काम करता हूँ, लेट्स टेक बैक 1.5 year. ठीक है, लास्ट 1.5 2 year 2.5 year व्हाट हैज हैपेंड इन इंडियन मार्केट. अपने जो बोलते हैं ना देयर इज नो अदर अल्टरनेटिव, उसको मैथमेटिकली अगर देखना चाहिए समझे, व्हाट वी यूज टू डू इन द इंडियन मार्केट इज अपना 7% रिस्क फ्री रेट है वैसे जीसेक का, और 4-5% 5-6% अपने को इक्विटी का रिस्क प्रीमियम चाहिए होता है. तो अपने 5% ले लो, 12% वी हैव टू मेक इन द फॉर इन्वेस्टिंग इन द इक्विटी मार्केट सो दैट वी आर कॉम्पेंसेटेड फॉर द इक्विटी रिस्क विच वी आर टेकिंग. Now think about from a HNI or something of that kind of tax kind of guy. उसका जो 7% पहले आता था वहां पे शायद 15% या बहुत सारे इंस्ट्रूमेंट थे जिसमें टैक्सेस बहुत कम थे. उनका टैक्स लूप होल एकदम हटा के नाउ दे आर ऑन अ डेट इंस्ट्रूमेंट ही इज बीन टैक्स. इवन इफ आई डू सम काइंड ऑफ डेट इंस्ट्रूमेंट तो आई एम टैक्स एट 35-36%. तो उनका उनका सरचार्ज तो और ऊपर था. सो दे आर आइदर 39 और 42%. सो उनका जो इक्वेशन था ना 7+5 वाला, वो 7 वाला अगर वो डेट से चालू करता तो वो 5 के नीचे आ गया. ठीक है, 5 क्या, और बाकी एफडी रेट तो बहुत टूटे लास्ट 1.5-2 साल में बिकॉज नो वन इज इन्वेस्टिंग देयर. वो हो गया 5 के नीचे. सो व्हाट वी आर अर्लियर एक्सपेक्टिंग इक्विटी टू वर्क एट 12-13%, व्हाट डज दैट चेंजेस. अगर 10% भी मिल रहा है तो भी वो बोलेंगे कि यार बाकी वाले योर इक्विटी रिस्क प्रीमियम रिमेन्स इंटैक्ट दैट 5% because the debt return has materially come down. Now with the new change, what has happened is equity का भी अपना जो टैक्स था वो हो गया अपना 15% से शॉर्ट टर्म हो गया 20%. एंड समवन हु इज ऑन अ हायर टैक्स ब्रैकेट उसका तो सरचार्ज भी 25% लगता है. So this again changes के पास equity again is becoming your whatever you make on the post tax basis is becoming very very expensive for the investor. राइटली सेड, इसका इम्प्लीकेशन धीरे धीरे समझ में आता है. जब पैसा बनता है ना तब तो नो वन केयर्स कितना टैक्स लग रहा है यार, पैसा बन रहा है. नाउ पैसा बन नहीं रहा है, जो पुराने बने हैं उसमें टैक्स भी देना पड़ेगा. सो दैट्स दिस. Similarly, though SEBI is saying for a very long period of time, कि I don't know, number was I guess 1.8 lakh crore last year FNO में रिटेल इन्वेस्टर का लॉस है. 1.8 lakh crore is a very huge number यार. अपना 0.5% of the country's GDP. That would be somewhere around more than I guess 10%, maybe may not be 10% but 5% of the net financial saving. सो अपने अगर वो रिटेलर, वो पैसा रिटेलर के हाथ से निकल के अगर किसी FIIs और के हाथ में जा रहा है या लार्जर इंस्टीट्यूशन के हाथ में जा रहा है, then it will definitely hurt consumption, which has happened, or maybe because of inflation and everything consumption has come down. कंजम्पशन का ना एक और पीस है, व्हाट रविकांत वाज सेइंग कि एवरी कंपनी इज कमिंग एंड सेइंग कंजम्पशन इज स्लोइंग डाउन. देखो लास्ट ईयर सितंबर से ना आरबीआई 2-3 चीज के पीछे पड़ा हुआ है. एक तो वो माइक्रो फाइनेंस में बोल रहा है यहाँ पे ओवर लेवरेजिंग है, एक वो पर्सनल क्रेडिट कार्ड में बोल रहा है, और कहीं कहीं पे पर्सनल लोन भी क्लब किया है. सो उसके बाद उसने 3-4 इनिशिएटिव भी लेके आया, और उसके क्या हुआ, क्रेडिट कार्ड की इफ यू हैव सीन एनीवन्स क्रेडिट कार्ड, सो लास्ट 1-1.5 साल में लिमिट कम ही हो रहे थे. इवन अपने वाले टैक्स ब्रैकेट में लिमिट कम की है क्रेडिट कार्ड कंपनीज ने. So what has happened when we were borrowing heavily, be it microfinance or be it personal loan or be it credit card, what we were spending say last 3 years was we are spending for some of our earning capacity from future. अब क्या है वो क्रेडिट कार्ड में डिफॉल्ट आ रहे हैं या ग्रोथ नहीं आ रहा है. So whatever growth we were earlier making by our savings of the future, now it's getting either negated or no incremental spend is coming. अपने incremental आपका credit card का spend नहीं होगा. So you are not again borrowing growth from the future. So that has halted. Another thing which might halt is ये जो पैसा incrementally जाना बंद होगा ना माइक्रो फाइनेंस में. So rural in next 6 months might see some kind of jitteriness. Not rural per se, but tier 2, tier 3 kind of market. But ये सब जो चीजें है ना, this works in cycle. ये 2-3 क्वार्टर में ना अपने आप नॉर्मलाइज हो जाती है. Say Nestle's game and says the middle class is shrinking. बॉस इंडिया में अगर नेस्ले ग्रोथ नहीं लेके आके पा रहा ना, तो कंजम्पशन स्टोरी तो चल ही नहीं सकती. नेस्ले अगर ग्रोथ नहीं लेके आ रहा तो कोई भी नहीं लेके आ पाएगा. Be it whatever product re-engineering or size optimization, growth for people like Nestle and HUL always come back. ये सब जो है ये 3-4 साल में एक बार आता है. ग्रोथ अचानक से इंजन रुक जाता है because whatever something which we have done as a borrowing from the future growth that normalizes, and again you will see जो भी 5-6% 4% अपना वॉल्यूम ग्रोथ है, 8-10% रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ है, दिस विल कम बैक फॉर द लार्जर यूनिवर्स ऑफ द कंपनीज. स्मॉलर में उनको दे हैव टू रन फास्टर और कोई तरीका नहीं है. इनका क्या है, द लार्जेस्ट ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दे हैव द फाइनेंशियल पावर, distribution power, R&D power to get whatever works for the country. They will make it and distribute. So मेरे हिसाब से 2-3 क्वार्टर का है, the larger companies will bring the growth back.
Right. So we got noob investor. Yeah, you can unmute and maybe put your quick points, or if any question to your part, definitely we'll try to take that. Yeah, over to you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, Prince Bhai, thank you for hosting these spaces. I am very new to this investing and trying to learn from these spaces only. So, been following you for many days. And my question is not related to this sector only. My question was on the IT sector. Dollar was strengthening, so it's generally good for IT sector. But now Trump doing the problems in for the H1B visa and problems for that. What is the impact on the IT sector, specifically on the services-based IT sector, not the product-based IT? Thank you.
Ravi and Ravikant, both of you, anything?
या 3-4 पार्ट में इम्प्लीकेशन हो सकता है. एक तो ना ट्रम्प गेटिंग बैक इन यूएस, ही इज वेरी प्रो बिजनेस. तो वन एंगल इज यूएस इकोनॉमी विल स्टार्ट फायरिंग. ठीक है. सो विच इज गुड फॉर द इंडियन एनीवन हु इज एक्सपोर्टिंग एनीथिंग टू द यूएस मार्केट. आप सर्विसेज दे रहे हो चाहे प्रोडक्ट बेच रहे हो यूएस मार्केट में, यूएस इकोनॉमी, बिकॉज दे आर द लार्जेस्ट कंज्यूमर ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. So if the US economy works well, the companies there will think about their IT expenditure and everything. दूसरा चीज है जो H1 whatever visa problem, he is saying 2-3 things यार, कि natural जो birth होंगे उनको immediate citizenship नहीं मिलेगी, and maybe limitation of people flow from here to there. इससे तो आईटी कंपनीज मेरे हिसाब से थोड़ा फायदा ही हो जाएगा. आईटी कंपनीज का अगर दे डोंट हैव टू सेंड पीपल देयर एंड मैनेज पीपल फ्रॉम हियर, तो कॉस्ट वाला रीबैलेंस मिल जाता है अपने को आईटी कंपनीज का. तीसरा ये है कि इफ करेंसी इंडियन करेंसी depreciate, that is again good for the IT companies. The only problem is IT companies still, if you see of all the 3-4 major sector which has reacted, IT companies hasn't reacted post Trump coming back, or may not have reacted that heavily. That is because of these 3-4 readings of the market. प्रॉब्लम वहां पे एक ही है कि ना वहां पे ग्रोथ जो है ना वो थोड़ा सबड्यूड आ रहा है. अगर अपने लास्ट 10-15 साल का एक्सपेक्टेशन ले, they earning used to grow at 10-12% on INR basis or even higher. and then they used to trade at TCS का 24-25 इनफी 20 एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ नीचे जाते जाते थे मल्टीपल में. और मल्टीपल अभी भी एक्सपैंडेड है फॉर वॉट एवर रीजन के स्टेबिलिटी है, अर्निंग में ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, मे बी एआई जो भी आएगा वॉट एवर, बिकॉज ऑफ दीज कंपनीज हैविंग so much amount of cash generation every year, whatever is the need of the hour, they will come back with the solution or acquire something overseas and deliver. वैल्यूएशन वाला अभी बाकी जो सेक्टर में दिख रहा है ना विजिबली कि वैल्यूएशन फ्रॉम देयर हिस्टोरिकल पर्सपेक्टिव हैव बिकम वेरी चीप, दैट हैज नॉट हैपेंड फॉर द आईटी कंपनीज. Business wise, it is good. I think Trump coming back, one thing is the visibility of the business growth in the US market, which helps them to spend more on their IT infrastructure improves, which is good for the Indian IT companies. Second thing what you raised was a visa problem. I read it two ways, that okay, people will be restricted to move, but then IT companies can deliver from India itself, which can even be beneficial in terms of cost arbitrage. So देखते हैं.
Right, Ravi. So coming, Ravikant, do you have anything to add to it?
Yeah, I mean, I have one point related to the IT sector question. My biggest worry when it comes to Indian IT sector services part is that uh, I mean, these companies have grown big. They enjoy very rich valuations. And yes, as Ravi Bhai pointed out very promptly that there hasn't been much correction in their valuation even post Trump's victory in the elections. My biggest concern is that, with the rise of AI, for example, I will tell you, Elon Musk says that he can do away with 80% of the bureaucracy in US government. Okay? To that extent, technology is ready today and that it can replace people. So even if these companies, they continue or even improve their earning per share, the perception in the market regarding the future prospect of these companies will remain feeble. Second, these companies have been sitting on huge pile of cash for years altogether. But we have seen that time and again, they are nothing but dividend distribution machines. They have not gone out of their company or any specific startup which is honed at a particular cutting edge aspect of the of information technology like AI, etc. Nothing of that sort has happened. A company of size of Infosys has barely a few $1 million invested in some experimental startups and all. So that also points at the the overall management of these companies where they are looking at. They are more comfortable within their comfort zones. This is what I make of it. As a result of which, one will have to, if one wants to invest into IT companies, one will have to study individual IT companies and specifically IT companies which fall in the lower and middle medium tier right now. There are a couple of good names who have been putting a lot of effort to, go up the value chain. One will have to, look out for them. Then second, even with the advent of AI, the need of services will not go away. But those services will be the services which will be needed by an AI enabled system. So we need to identify, IT companies, whether be it Indian company or like some foreign company, which specializes in providing services of that type. So these are my 2 cents.
Right. So let me see if there are any questions which are unanswered. Otherwise, we'll close for the day and we have another discussion some more time. Meanwhile, anything more to around the report, both of you, and anything more to your mind on current market sentiment? We can have 5-10 minutes more of that discussion. And if there is nothing much, then we can close for the day.
Prince Bhai, all I can say from my side is that this correction, this phase which we are seeing right now is much needed, much deserved. So, one needs to take advantage of this to clean out whatever mistakes they have in their portfolio and accumulate real good quality stocks. Human psychology is that we get more happiness when we see our portfolios going up. But if you see it from an investor's perspective, it is way more important to get periodic opportunities to clean up your portfolio, to free up your capital, and keep reinvesting that capital into really quality names. So that's what I wanted to add.
Right. Ravindra, anything on your part?
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, the beauty of your investment will reveal in a bear market. बुल मार्केट में तो गधे घोड़े से ज्यादा तेज दौड़ते हैं. So beauty of your investment always get revealed in bear market. The problem is people were even among the learned people. Yeah, I have seen in this cycle, people have made so much money that people who knows that something wrong is happening in terms of valuation and market going vertically up, they got so numb towards the risk side. And I'm talking not about the newcomers in the market. I'm talking about the people who have been in the market for a very long period of time and then understand that this kind of there's huge amount of risk and market is going vertically up. The viewpoint there was the liquidity is so high that it can absorb any kind of papers which comes to the market. As we have seen in just if we exclude the last 1 month, uh, we even our finance minister or media was saying we don't need FII. That kind of statement were made. Okay, they are selling, but we can do without them. That's not the case. Yeah, you have to keep your sanity. Other thing is, you were asking about the report. I had a chance to read that also. I didn't go to the entire 60, 70 pages, but the crux of the matter in that, and if I try to explain, I'm talking about the Reliance report. What has been mentioned is there is about 2 lakh crore. That is, this part is not mentioned in the report. There is about 2 lakh crore which is invested by Reliance, which is sitting in their WIP. You can see this in the screener itself. That 2 lakh crore right now is not contributing to the revenue, EBITDA, and PAT of the companies. That is the assets which is they are building to scale operations next year, from next year or later. The valuation construct of Reliance, even the people who might be bearish on valuation side, what they will say is Reliance 10-year, 15-year, 20-year back used to trade at 16, 17 PE multiple, but right now it is trading at 25, so it is expensive. But the context, the beast, the Reliance itself has transformed materially after 2016. 2016 के बाद क्या है ना, जियो इज वन ऑफ द लार्जर कंट्रीब्यूटर टू रेवेन्यू, नॉट रेवेन्यू बट एबिटा इन रिलायंस. अगर आप ये देखो ना कि एयरटेल का मार्केट कैप कितना है, 12 लाख करोड़, 13 लाख करोड़ का ईवी है, उसमें 1.5-2 लाख करोड़ का अफ्रीकन एसेट्स का, 2 लाख 3 लाख करोड़ का अफ्रीकन एसेट्स का वैल्यूएशन होता है. If I remove, then what Airtel is trading at about 8.5-9 lakh crore for the Indian entity business. Think about this. Reliance have a larger customer base, though ARPU is lower, so revenue pot उसी के आसपास का है. So Reliance, if we compare with Airtel, it stands at 9 lakh crore kind of EV valuation for the telecom business. उन्होंने अपना रिटेल का एसेट जो बाई बैक किया था लास्ट 1.5 साल पहले, that was done at 7-8 lakh crore. Forget about if you take any of the listed entity multiple where it should trade at, but 1.5 साल पहले it was 8.5 lakh. That itself make up for the almost market cap of the companies. लीव असाइड जो 2 लाख करोड़ का WIP केपेक्स में पड़ा हुआ है और पेट्रोकेमिकल या रिफाइनरी या जितने भी O2C वाले हैं एंड न्यू एनर्जी वाले. सो द प्रॉब्लम इज ऑल दिस विल फ्रक्टिफाई once they demerge the retail or do the IPO for the the telecom one. So then people will realize there is huge value here. That was there on the report side. Yeah.
Thank you, Ravi, and really helpful. You shared your thoughts, and definitely our audience enjoyed it. And we close the session with the remarks
अरे
that
एक सेकंड प्रिंस,
whatever we
अरे एक चीज है, वाजपेयी जी हैं, कुछ टेक्निकल कुछ बताइए ना सर.
I think he got dropped, Ravindra. Can you see him?
Acha.
I was,
I can see,
he got,
no, he was there, but now I can't see him, I guess.
so he got dropped. Maybe he got busy. We can have his
Acha.
thoughts, or maybe he can also have a spaces later today. So we'll come to that. So, guys,
ठीक है.
whatever we discussed are in individual capacity with all the positive intent so as to share our thoughts, by no means to influence anybody's decision. Do your due diligence. Definitely, it's a positive thing, but how materially it will change and how long that will take is the question we should be asking ourselves. So it would be better on our part to do a due diligence on whichever company we want to or we wish to invest rather than simply getting swayed by the sentiment which is happening across. You should be placing yourself in a manner wherein you believe that you allow your investment some time and that should not bring anxiety to you, right? And your buy sell decisions should be owned by you, and you should not be like blindly copying anyone on social media, any spaces, any tweets or whatnot, right? Because you never know that that person might change their thoughts at some point in time because he or she is not liable or answerable to you, right? It is up to you how smartly you take those ideas and do your homework on those, and then you take decisions, right? So that is the best use of anything. Always take that as a starting point and build your conviction. So Noob, quickly unmute before we close. Yeah.
हाँ, तो प्रिंस भाई और रविंद्र भाई, मेरा एक और क्वेश्चन था कि जो अभी ये जो करेक्शन हुआ इसमें अपॉर्चुनिटीज आप लोग, मैं स्टॉक रिकमेंडेशन नहीं चाह रहा, मैं जस्ट सेक्टरल कुछ आप बताया कि जिसमें अपॉर्चुनिटीज लग रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ देयर अर्निंग्स इम्पैक्ट, बिकॉज मल्टीपल रीजंस थे, इलेक्शंस थे, मानसून का इम्पैक्ट था जो टेम्परली अर्निंग्स इम्पैक्ट हो गया, मे बी H2 से अच्छा कर सकते हैं, ऐसा कुछ अगर आपको दिख रहा है तो मुझे लग रहा है कि ये ट्रांसमिशन सेक्टर में कुछ जो कंपनी थे वो मानसून के वजह से वो इफेक्ट हुए हैं, उसका H2 से मे बी अर्निंग से थोड़ा पिकअप हो सकता है, तो ऐसा कुछ अगर आपको दिख रहा है तो थैंक यू.
Look, what first thing is what Prince mentioned. Don't go with. It's not about me or Prince saying something. Don't go with anyone recommending stocks on social media. This is more of how should you think about the investment in the market, how you should approach any companies. So idea was that to share how you try to analyze the business or valuation of the companies. और अभी के फॉल के बाद तो इतना तो समझ में आ ही गया होगा सबको, सवारी अपने सामान की खुद जिम्मेदार है. Whatever easy quick money was made in last 1-2 years by listening to social media and everything got wiped out in 2-3 months. That aside, what this question about the investment from this correction, एक चीज है कि ना whenever market has corrected 5-6% in a month time or 10% in a short period of time, next 2-3 years has been reasonably good for the Indian market. अगर कभी भी ना Indian market has on an overall basis come down below say 100 DMA, आज के दिन मेरे को पता नहीं है, but 100-200 के आसपास आ जाता है ना, you don't do a bulk investment, but इस टाइम से आप जो भी SIP कर रहे थे उसको डबल कर दीजिए, you will see a decent amount of gain for next 2-3 years investment period. One thing is there that whoever was doing direct investment and was doing on stock, what has happened in last 2-3 years, because everyone made money and they thought that they understand the market. ऐसा होता नहीं है यार. So better is अगर आपको thematic भी कुछ पकड़ना है, if you like power, if you like transmission, better is you identify some of the mutual fund which is catering to that theme, rather than if you're not a full-time investors in the market. If you're fully involved in business and services, better is take the professional help, because they do it day in day out. Yeah, transmission wala, just to point, because you are asking, there are reports there is a global shortages which we haven't seen in last 10-15 years, and this shortages will be there for next 10-15 years. So all the power related, be it transmission, be it उसको क्या बोलते हैं यार, वो जहाँ पे पावर लोड कम बेसी करते हैं, ट्रांसफॉर्मर, That kind of there is huge dearth of capacity not only in India but worldwide. But again, rather than identifying stocks and everything, I think you identify some of the mutual fund manager who is dedicated towards this fund, and better is to have a broader investment framework rather than a particular sector. As I was saying in earlier of my comment, ऐसे फॉल के बाद ना जनरली यही होता है कि large cap will recover first. So even if you don't want to go to mutual fund or those kind of people, you can start SIP with the broader universe, say Sensex 30 के ETF या जो भी index fund है या Nifty 50 के generally after this kind of steep correction, if you do SIP, you will be reasonably with good return in next 3-5 years.
Thanks, Ravi. And I hope we answered best in our capacity, Mr. Noob Investor. So with that, I take everybody's leave for today, and I think we continue to have such session interactions basis some new developments in the market and some new practitioners joining us, and keep supporting. And if there is anything you have on the feedback part, please share with us so that we can work with that. And definitely those who joined Ravindra Bhandari for the first time can surely follow him for his insights, and definitely you will be happily cherishing the ideas being shared. Apart from names, you will find everything on the handle, and that is the last thing we do because we do not want to influence anybody's views, and it's purely from holistic investment decision, and those who join us regular, they know what kind of spaces and what kind of session we do. So definitely, you should not be hesitating in appreciating our work. So if you feel we are doing good, definitely you can share the positive